Eliminate this in silence like Musashi and transform your life without anyone noticing. Let's be blunt. Your life is full of unnecessary weight. Musashi said a warrior only wins by letting go of what's not essential. So why do you keep dragging what exhausts and sabotages you? Maybe true discipline isn't shouting to the world, but cutting quietly what weakens you. Worn-out relationships, subtle habits, thoughts that chain you. You don't need to explain yourself or seek applause. True liberation happens with no audience. Musashi taught something simple: release what you can't control and strengthen what's in your hands. Life, like a duel, is too short to waste on others' expectations. That's why today I'll show you how to eliminate, with calm and precision, the 10 things draining your vital energy. I'm not just talking about physical clutter, I'm talking about internal chaos. All the things you tolerate out of fear, laziness, or routine. These things rob your clarity, distort your strategy, and suffocate your peace. And if you don't act now, you'll lose what's most precious: your presence. A warrior is forged by what he lets go of, not by what he holds onto. So begin, in silence, without drama, because in the end, what you leave behind says more about you than what you display. Are you ready to become like Musashi? But first, hear this short story, because inside every metaphor lies a sword, and in every storm, a lesson about lightness. In a small fishing village, there lived a woman named Helena. She was sharp at sea, precise in her choices, but her boat was always heavy. Torn nets, broken tools, useless memories. When the storm came, she nearly sank. Then she saw her greatest enemy wasn't the waves, but the weight she refused to drop. Once she did, she floated, exhausted, but alive. And she whispered, in silence, detachment becomes victory. The fear of others' opinions. Musashi never handed his mind over to others' judgment. The warrior knows that living for others' eyes is like surrendering your sword before the fight. When you fear outside opinion, you battle with weapons that aren't yours. You shrink before acting, molding yourself into someone else's idea of you. In doing so, you lose the thread of your own path. This fear is a hidden ambush. When you move to please, you walk on unstable ground. Musashi said the strategic path is deep and straight. It shouldn't bend with applause or criticism. What others think doesn't hurt you. What hurts is surrendering to their thoughts. Fear of judgment is a dull blade that only cuts your own purpose. Living to please is training for a war that will never be won. Musashi didn't fight to prove something, he fought to understand something. True worth isn't found in others' echo, but in the steadiness of silent steps. Each decision should be guided by clarity, not the crowd. Because in life's battlefield, those who seek approval die before the fight begins. To let go of this fear, you don't need noise, just silence. Musashi taught that a warrior never explains his steps, he simply walks. Start saying no where you used to say yes out of guilt. Step away from the need to please, and when fear knocks, listen, breathe, and keep going. Purpose is a choice, not a performance. In the end, the sharpest sword is the one you don't need to raise. When you stop seeking acceptance and start acting with purpose, everything changes. True respect comes from consistency, not from the need to impress. Musashi wasn't loved, he was feared and respected, because he never betrayed himself. The first enemy to beat is always within, and the sneakiest is the fear of not being liked. Toxic relationships. Musashi knew some alliances weaken more than they strengthen. He said presence should uplift, not weigh you down. In battle, a hesitant ally can be more dangerous than the enemy. It's the same in life. Some relationships dilute you instead of empowering you. A warrior must cut what doesn't add value, calmly, with no need for noise. It's not about judging or rejecting, it's about seeing clearly. People who drain your energy, cloud your vision, and pull you off course are like stones in the boots of long-distance travelers. Musashi avoided useless fights, but never hesitated to cut ties that slowed him down. True loyalty begins when you're loyal to yourself first. Cutting a toxic bond isn't violence, it's strategy. And strategy is silent, like a sharp blade that doesn't need to be shown. Distancing, when done with clarity and grace, leaves no wounds. It simply creates the space needed to breathe. And breath, for a warrior, is vital. A suffocated mind can't make sharp decisions. Think about who surrounds you. After each interaction, do you feel stronger or drained? If every conversation feels like a duel, maybe you're fighting the wrong person. Musashi's solution would be simple. Walk away with dignity. No drama, no explanation. Because the silence of self-preservation is wiser than the scream for respect. Walk with those who share your rhythm and vision. Real allies don't demand your energy, they multiply it. And when silence feels lighter than the company, it's time to go. Musashi said, "A warrior's path is lonely, but never empty."
The weight of unfinished cycles. Musashi never left a sword halfway drawn. To leave things undone is to scatter your power across too many battlefields. The more open loops you carry, the heavier your steps become. And that weight slowly kills your clarity. A warrior doesn't delay closure. He finishes what must be finished, or cuts ties that no longer serve. Unfinished cycles are silent thieves. A project half-started, a decision postponed, a conversation avoided. Each one lingers like background noise in your mind. Musashi teaches that a sharp mind requires empty space. You can't plan a battle while juggling ghosts from the past. What isn't closed controls you. What is ended frees you. To let go is not always to finish. It's to release the illusion that you still will. Some cycles drag on because of pride or guilt, but Musashi said pride is a luxury for the weak. A warrior admits when the path is over and doesn't fear starting again elsewhere. Closure is not weakness, it's mastery over your own direction. Silence is powerful when closing a door. You don't need announcements, just honesty and discipline. Write down what needs to be resolved, then choose, end it or release it, and do both with honor. Because every open loop is a hand pulling you backward, and Musashi only walked forward. In the end, your energy follows your attention. Where you hesitate, you leak. Where you complete, you strengthen. And just like a blade must be drawn fully to strike, your life must be lived with intention to cut through the noise. Let go of what was never yours to finish. Musashi would. The addiction to comparison. Musashi never fought using his opponent's technique. He mastered his own in silence. Comparing yourself to others is like trying to win a duel with someone else's sword. It looks powerful from afar, but it doesn't fit your grip. Every comparison cuts your confidence in half and hands your focus to the wrong battle. Comparison is noise disguised as motivation. It makes you chase shadows, not progress. Musashi's strength wasn't just skill, it was presence. He showed up fully as himself, not as someone better. When you compare, you forget your rhythm and stumble trying to walk someone else's pace. That's how warriors fall before drawing their blade. The enemy is not them, it's your illusion of who you should be. You weren't born to compete with timelines or trophies. You were born to sharpen what's uniquely yours. Musashi had one law: know yourself like your own sword. And no warrior polishes his blade by looking at another's reflection. Let go of metrics that don't belong to your path. Musashi never asked, "Am I doing it right?" He asked, "Is this aligned with my way?" And that's the question you need to ask yourself daily. If something drains your joy in the name of improvement, it's not growth, it's corrosion. So cut the rope of comparison. In silence, not bitterness. Honor others, but never worship them. Learn from their path, but walk yours. Because true mastery is not measured by how far others are. It's by how deeply rooted you are in yourself. And Musashi was unshakable because he only measured himself by his own code.
Clutter that hides the essential. Musashi owned little, not out of poverty, but purpose. He believed a warrior's mind must be light to move swiftly. Clutter, physical, digital, or emotional, drains decision power and attention. Every object you don't need is one more thought you carry for no reason. And mental noise begins with what surrounds you. You don't need a monastery to live with clarity, just a choice to strip away what doesn't serve you. Musashi sharpened his sword daily, but also his space. What you see every day shapes your inner world. A messy room is not harmless, it's a battlefield where your mind bleeds in silence. Start by observing. What do you own that you don't use? What fills your space but not your spirit? Musashi's discipline teaches, remove first, then refine, because only in silence can the essential speak. The clearer your environment, the sharper your mind becomes. And clarity is a warrior's truest ally. Let go of what you keep out of guilt. That shirt you never wear, that object you hate but feel forced to keep, they are not just things, they are weight. Musashi's room was empty, not to impress, but to protect his focus. You don't need less to appear minimalist. You need less to become dangerous. A clear space is a silent teacher. It reminds you of what really matters. And it whispers a truth. You can't move forward carrying things you're no longer meant to hold. Musashi walked with only what he could carry. And that's why he always arrived light, fast, and ready. Become like that. The need to control everything. Control is a double-edged sword. Musashi knew when to act and when to release. Wanting to control every outcome is a trap that exhausts your energy and creates anxiety. The more you force, the more you fracture. A warrior plans his moves, but doesn't cling to them. He flows with what is. Control is rooted in fear, the fear of pain, loss, or uncertainty. But Musashi embraced uncertainty as part of the path. The tighter your grip, the more likely you'll break what you love. True strength lies not in domination, but in presence. Letting go doesn't mean weakness, it means trust in your own readiness. Let life move. You don't need to manipulate every detail. Your value isn't in what you control, but in how you respond. A warrior sharpens his awareness, not his attachments. Musashi trained for what could be, but never wasted energy trying to force what wasn't. That's the power of calm strategy. Start by loosening your grip on people, plans, and pain. Breathe, observe, act only where action is needed. Let go where you've already done your part. And when things break, don't panic. Some cracks reveal new paths. Musashi never feared change. He trained to be unshakable through it. You become lighter the moment you stop needing control. Peace arrives not when all is stable, but when you're stable within the chaos. Musashi said, "Do nothing that is of no use." And trying to control the uncontrollable, that is the most useless act of all. Cut it off, in silence, now.
The illusion of one day. Musashi didn't believe in one day. He believed in now. One day is the lie we use to delay the truth we fear. The dream you postpone, the step you avoid, the change you delay, it all collects interest, and what could be growth becomes regret. Warriors don't wait for perfect moments, they create them. The illusion of timing is the enemy's favorite trick. When I feel ready, when I have more time, after I finish this. But Musashi knew hesitation is defeat dressed as logic. Life is not a rehearsal. Every moment you don't live fully is one you lose forever. One day steals silently. Break that illusion with immediate action. You don't need to finish everything today, but start something, even if it's small. Musashi's victories weren't built in a day, but they began the moment he stopped waiting. Movement builds momentum. Waiting builds walls. Choose your side. Make a list of your one days, then act on one of them. Not tomorrow, now. Send the message. Apply. Say yes. Say no. Burn the bridge that holds you hostage. Musashi didn't carry promises. He carried results. And each one began with a silent, disciplined first step. You are not guaranteed more time. What you postpone today, you may never meet again. The warrior mindset is built on urgency with calm, determination without noise, progress without panic. One day is a mirage. Musashi knew this, and so do you deep down. So go, now.
Conclusion. You don't need to tell anyone what you're doing. Just move, quietly, strategically, like Musashi. While others post, explain, and seek applause, you'll be shedding the invisible weights they're too afraid to face. In silence, you'll become who they never saw coming. This isn't about becoming cold, it's about becoming sharp. Not indifferent, but unshakable. You'll still feel, still care, but you'll no longer be controlled. Because the things you've eliminated are the same ones that once held you hostage. And your silence? That's your sword now. So let them wonder, let them ask, let them doubt, while you rise, while you focus, while you build a life that doesn't need defense because it speaks for itself. Musashi never needed to prove anything. He just won. And so will you. But it starts here with a single silent cut.